IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
Yes, welcome to our show, Cock and Bull. I've changed my seating position slightly. I've elevated myself on a pillow for two reasons. One, because I feel I'm closer now to people for some reason. And second, because of the pain in that part of the body which needs some soft cushioning. Something I won't get into because I've been told it's awfully disgusting to discuss that right at the top of the show, but maybe towards the middle. Okay, I have a beautiful piece of news before we bring in Amit and Silvery, and that is in Alibag, where my wife lives. That's how we keep the marriage going. I've discovered that the bucket bath is a fabulous concept and a great way for India to save water. And this message goes straight to the Prime Minister's office from me. Once again, dear patriot that I am, I've decided to help the country. And this is what I've come up with. If you find the right seating arrangement while having a bucket bath, because that's very key to it, you have to feel very comfortable. So your back should be resting against the wall, generally if you're aged. And if you're younger, you can possibly get away with less. And you have to be at a perhaps knee height with a stool as well. Then fill the bucket with water at the requisite temperature and use only about 3 to 4 mugs at a time. All right, that's it. I don't think you need more than 3 to 4 mugs for a full bath. I've tried it. One here, one there, one there, one. You're done. It's pretty simple. But then the rest of that water, you keep it there. It gets cold. In the next bath you heat a little bit of water only. So you do mix and match, and you're still using the water that's there in the bucket. This is my gift to the Prime Minister's office, and I presume I will get a congratulatory message. May get on the list of honors. Hopefully, this time the Padma Bhushan and Vibhushan will be given to the right people. I don't want to go on delve in it too long, but this is just my message. As the light changes, and for some reason I'm not able to control that.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders and change makers from across business, media, marketing and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Let's call in on Cock and Bull the glorious talent of Silvery, also known as Antariksh, and Amit Doshi, who wasn't in for the sound check at 5:58. A sense of absolute arrogance and of returning to the office, I think. As you can see, they're in an office.
I am sitting in a studio. What do you expect from me? I don't need no sound check.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You're sitting in a studio. Now be even more arrogant and say it's your own studio. And you remember in our neck of the woods, there's a My Own studio where we all used to go and get our photos taken many years ago. Yeah.
Yes. They had the back room where you had to go and they do like family portraits and shit like that. Yeah, correct. I do remember that place.
Right, opposite Chicken Center, Nana Chowk. My Own studio. I always wondered, why couldn't he come up with a better name than kya naam rakhu? My Own studio, because it's his. All right, but what is our studio called?
Our studio is called the IVM Studios.
That's boring. Let's give it a name.
All right, you want me to give it a name? I will think about it.
No, you should always have a female name, Apeksha or something. You should have a nice ring to it.
Yeah. So we have like multiple studios, right? So each of our studios can be called like an interesting name of itself. So like we are in studio Alpha, studio,
Alpha. There will be hot sounding women, so that there's glamour thing attached to it immediately. Wow,
okay.
My Own studio. I mean, who wants to go there? It sounds like a government job from hell.
If I were to pick what we would do, I would probably a common thing to do is so Pratilipi, right, the company that acquired us in Bangalore, all of their different conference rooms are cities from fantasy novels. So they have I think a Rivendell.
Riverdale, yeah.
Rivendell, like from
Rivendell.
From Lord of the Rings.
My ignorance.
They have Malgudi from R.K. Lakshman as one of the rooms. So I can't remember the other names, but I thought that was cool.
What about Bombay, which is supposed to be Shanghai? That's also like a fictional thing.
So that's what Apple has in their India offices, in their Bombay offices. Their Bombay offices, each of the conference rooms are a international city name. So I'm going to have a conversation in San Francisco.
But does it have a connection, the name? Or you just chose a name you like? Or
no, it's just they just have different cities as far as I know.
Wow. All right. What about Pawai? Should we call one of the students Pawai? Silvis, you don't miss home. 2 years. Mummy ka khana, ghar ka
No, no.
aram. No?
I will only go to a place that aren't called Pawai now, man. I don't want it to be called Pawai. 2 years in Pawai, god damn it. Yeah,
Okay,
sick
speaking
tired
of
those people.
bucket baths, did you guys tell me honestly, when's the last time you had a bucket bath? You spoiled urbanites.
2 years back, continuously for 2 years in boarding school, but that was the last time, literally. But I was in like
Okay.
2
ninth
years
and 10th
back in
standard.
boarding school. So when you were 26, you went back to boarding school. You creep. What
No,
were you
no, this
doing
was
there
like when
having
I was-
baths with the young boys?
I said back, went there. Yeah, at 14 years of age.
So those were bucket bath
How old
days?
you are at 10th. Yeah,
So
and
it's a
dude, in boarding school, everything in boarding school is you have to put yourself in a line for it. So, because there aren't enough buckets to go around our dormitory, there are 32 people in the dormitory. We don't have 32 buckets. We have only like 8 buckets. So there is a line for everything. Like, tere baad mere ko de. Teri bucket, don't give it to someone else. And there would be fights. If the bucket, I saw that bucket in someone else's hand, I would fight to the death with this dude. I was like, dude, I told you, it was my bucket. And that applied to
Many
everything.
questions.
Yeah,
No,
please
but
tell me.
let's stay with the buckets for a minute. So would you then
Yeah.
share the bucket? Was it like an option? The two guys have a bath together?
That did happen. So how dormitories the washroom area, how it works is one side is the WC areas, okay, and the other side the partition, and the other side is a wash basin area, and behind that there's like a small area where you can gather, and behind that is the showering area. What I described makes it sound like a very big washroom, but it wasn't. It was like
It
just
sou-
barely
it
enough to
sounds
fit
like a
10 people in it.
concentration camp to me.
Yeah, it's not.
Please go on.
It's not.
Oh.
So very often, if all the 4 showering areas or whatever, like bucket bath areas, are not available, like the rooms, the compartments, then we would just, we were always in a hurry, so we would just bathe in like the open area with all the other guys, and
No,
very
my
often
point
we
is,
share
so
buckets
there's
like
one bucket and 4 guys. Like it would be like that sometimes.
There's no numbers. It could be 8 guys in one bucket.
Then how do you
Like,
pick a
there's
mug?
no-
And who decides who gets the mugs and all that?
So basically, like,
You just literally share.
we literally share. Like, basically everything it's boarding school. We literally see each other. We next to each other.
But then your
And-
pal, does he pour the mug on you as well? Because that's how the thing can get escalate. No?
No, luckily
Like,
not.
bro,
No, that's
bro,
not. It never went
मेरा
that
हाथ में
far, yeah.
साबुन है, can you just, whatever. I was just asking.
no,
it
it's
could be
not.
innocent. It could be
No.
innocent. Just to kill. I mean, how you would with anything like sports equipment or something, how you would share it literally. Wow. Listen, bro, I
But-
got a piece of.
Yeah,
I've got.
please go ahead.
This is what my summarizing from this whole situation for you is that for stand up, when you return to a proper venue and play your own thing, you must do dom life in Panchgani, whatever. You must do a whole
Yeah.
sequence on that. I think it'll be really funny. You're writing it down. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm writing it down. So don't forget, Cyrus said this is funny.
No, I'm telling you, you can give us. Firstly, they're all true stories, which you can obviously do your thing with. But they're really funny. I'm just thinking about the
Yeah,
experiences. Now they're funny. They're both ridiculous and funny. But
So
but I'm
my
just thinking
school,
about it,
right?
these are all upmarket kids, sort of stuck in this stupid place
Absolutely.
with one bucket, 2 mugs, and they're all looking at each other stark naked, and they're adolescents who can only think of women all day and all night. And I'm just thinking, it's like criminal in many ways.
Absolutely. So talking about women, right? Women in school was a co-ed boarding school. It was Sanjeevan Vidyalaya in Panchgani, and we were
But you couldn't
not.
shower with the girls.
No, of course not. Of course not. No, not like that.
You put
So
in the
my school had
requisition.
3 campuses. My school had 3 campuses.
1
spread-
minute! LGBT had already reached Panchgani well before the movement. What the hell?
No, it wasn't.
Amit,
We-
congratulations to Sanjeevan. What a society. Superb, bro. Superb. I'm
No,
very impressed.
you're completely in the wrong direction because
You
my
said 3.
my school could not. No, I was saying my school has 3 campuses. First campus just was for the lower grade, like I think till 8th standard. The second campus was for
Oh.
9th, 10th,
Oh,
and third
age
campus was for
issues.
11th and 12th.
Got it.
Yeah. So like that. So anyway, what I'm saying is, my school was so not progressive. They would have problems if we were talking to girls. If we were even talking to our own classmates, my class teachers would have a problem. I remember very famously we had a Singh sir. He was a Hindi teacher. His famous question was if you're talking to another girl, right? He'd come and ask you, are you boyfriend girlfriend? And you'll be like, what are you supposed to say to your teacher? And you're like, no. And he's like, acha, बहन है क्या आपकी? I'm like, नहीं, तुमने बात क्यों कर रहे हो इनसे? Like, what are you talking about, dude?
No, I get it. He
Horrible.
wants the bond. What is the bond is his question, which he said it
You can't
wrongly
be
by
friends.
giving you the options. You should say, मेरी neighbor की धोबी का बहन की auntie. You have to just find
Oh, he
something
wants to relate.
what the connection
Like
is.
any
That's what he
relation will
wanted.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to do Panchgani tales over. I don't want to call tales from boarding school. How
Yeah,
we
yeah.
shared the bucket. Your bio could be the bucket tales. It would be fabulous. Yeah. Anyway, so whole different feeling to bucket list for him, bichara.
One sec. Sorry. One more thing just remembered. Very cheap about my boarding school. Okay, so my boarding school mess food in boarding schools is famously bad, right? Famously, we all know this. Mess food is always bad. Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays we used to get non-veg. Okay, so I was there for 9th and 10th. We used to get non-veg Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. In the last 6 months of my tenure there, of the last 6 months of my 10th standard, they made all non-veg days into egg days. Like egg gravy days, dude. So I was eating eggs on non-veg days, okay? And so Sundays was normally biryani day. So we used to get like mutton biryani, sometimes prawn biryani was also fine. They made it anda biryani, dude. Who has anda biryani?
But why budget issue? Or what is the issue?
What?
It must be budget issue.
What is the issue? Why did they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just being super cheap because the fees was exorbitant because the boarding schools.
It was. Boarding schools are not cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, that's what I don't understand that. The parents pay through their nose, thinking like beta is very well taken care of and lap of luxury. And the bugger is sharing a bucket with 7 boys he's never seen before, starkers, fighting for a mug. You know, I mean, that's part one. Then he gets, for non-veg, they fool him into anda curry every day. Non-veg! And it's anda curry.
No, but I think that's part of the boarding school thing, right? I mean, like parents who are typically in India at least, right? And this is my experience from my age, right? You send to boarding school the kids who are almost always the worst behaved, who need quote unquote straightening out, right? That's the kind of thought that at least I know amongst.
No, I mean, it's not just that. There were many who their divorces happened and things like that. Then there were, they couldn't handle kids, honestly. And then there were, like my wife, I was going to say daughter, but she's now my wife, not my daughter. Please, I apologize for that mistake, but it's all over the place in my head. No Freudian slip. So she, the dad was in the corporate line, and he was quite high up, but with every promotion in ITC, I think, he would go to like from Calcutta to Hyderabad, etc. Because they traveled a lot, they said, let's give them some stability because otherwise every 2 years we're moving. So, it's those kind of kids also who go in. And I think his Silvery story is very similar, right? Silvery, dad moved a lot.
Yeah, my dad had a transferable job. He had a government job.
So he was not the worst kid in the. Were you the worst kid in the area?
No, not at all. Not at all. No. It was fine.
This is the guy who says "ma'am" and "sir" to people who are 6 months younger than him.
But
this is the man who always had the bucket bath last. He's going to tell us when we go to see.
There might be something to what Amit is saying though, because I had a friend who had been in that boarding school. So the boarding schools are usually at first and second standard, the third standard onwards, because the kids are a little older, they can stay away from their parents a little bit, right? I had a friend who had been in the boarding school from third standard, and he finished the 12th standard in the same boarding school. Okay, that means for the entire those 7, 8 years, 9 years, he had never celebrated his birthday at home. And he had never celebrated.
School teach you 3rd to 12th. It's 12 minus 3. Okay, sorry.
But he never celebrated like his birthday with his parents and all, man. Isn't that like his entire childhood?
Yeah. Why?
That is just because his birthday was always during school time, like school year, like during the term,
So they wouldn't come to visit and all on the birthday.
Actually, at least maybe they came sometimes. They didn't come when I was there. Maybe they came sometimes. You're right. But at least he was never at home for the boarding school. And I remember asking him, so you've never been home for your birthday? He's like, no, I've always been here, man. And every birthday year, I'm always here.
Was his father the principal?
No, he wasn't. No.
Yeah, no. So that's exactly those are kind of people who I know who went to boarding schools, right? For the most part, these were kids who did some really either messed up shit, or you're right, divorce was a thing, right? I think because of divorces, there were a number of kids I know who went to boarding school, but it was almost. I think because of that, there was a certain tolerance built into parents' expectations. Right, the idea that hey, this is meant to toughen up our kids, this is meant to straighten up our kids, right? So even though you're paying these exorbitant fees, the parents would probably be like, hey, you're supposed to go there and get your shit sorted out, right? Like basically the same advice I was giving you off camera about how to deal with Mikhail's thing that we were talking about last week. It's basically the same point, right? Get them to straighten their shit out.
And let me tell you, you failed. And my biggest problem is, and my fight with my wife is because it's like two cultures. She's the boarding school, tougher culture. They are well organized, do everything on their own. And I'm the Ladla culture for sure. I'm still with my parents. And I still ask my mom to go and tell them to shut the drilling. My old 8-year-old mother has to go and intercom and tell them, that still goes on. And the problem is that we are so soft as a result of that, that when my son son left, I'm still, I look at his Gatorade bottle, which he uses, which he used to mix his drink in and all that, and I start feeling sad and almost teary and all that. So what level we're on? And these ones left their homes at age of 9 or 10, whatever it is, third standard, and then they're like, they're just so much tougher than us emotionally. Like my wife.
Yeah.
That's why I made her the husband. I anointed her just the other day. I said, "You're the husband now." Also, the fact that now the facial growth and all that is it's a lovely girl and all that, but it's just part of nature. We're all basically the same gender. Once you cross 45, 46, it's the same gender. Sylvie, you've got 15 years to enjoy distinct changes in gender. After that, we are very, very secular, really. Yeah, but I just want to finish on the bucket bath before we start any topics. I hope you guys remember that it's actually a great way to save water, and you can actually do real paisa vasool because you won't waste it. If I give you only 5 or 6 mugs worth of water, you probably can tell us from Panchgani as well. You make sure it counts. You don't have extra water throws and all. You make sure your water goes everywhere. You count for everything. You clean yourself thoroughly. If there's an area which has to be cleaned more, and boom, and you're out. So I think the Prime Minister should now, Akshay Kumar must make a film instead of toilet on bucket. Maybe they can call it balti or whatever they want, and just focus on that. And all Indians should have bucket baths and use only 4 to 5 mugfuls at a time. I really don't see the reason to use more if you're careful. It's a slow process. You pour it, boom, boom, boom. It goes everywhere. You're clean. And if you're anti-soap like I am, you don't have any excuse. You don't take anything off.
Okay.
Awkward pause as the other two digest the information, then say, why do we always discuss hygiene and his lack of it? But it's too much information.
The anti-soap thing was just, that came out of nowhere.
Wait, you mean no shower gel, no body wash, nothing like that?
How can you be anti-soap?
So in the gym in the morning, I use that little bit of that shower gel under the armpit area because I try to keep it as clean as possible. But I don't like the feeling of soap on me. Can I tell you something? And please correct me in the chat, anyone who wants to right now. I feel the touch of soap is like semen. And it's not like I'm homophobic, but some of that soap, I just feel a very semenic touch to it. And so it's a tactile issue. It's maybe from childhood or something. I never enjoyed that tactile thing. But if you put me in a bubble bath, I'm okay with it. I love the bubble bath.
Bubble baths are disgusting. Lying in your own filth.
God. Oh my God. I can't believe it.
Dude,
Country divided. They're a country divided.
You're cleaning yourself off into the thing that you're lying in. I'm sorry, but a bubble bath without a shower at the end of it is absolutely
Of course you have a shower
disgusting.
at the end of it, Amit Doshi. You have a shower at the end of it, but that's not...
But you don't like showers. You don't like soap. You need to soap yourself. You need to clean yourself off.
I only do bubble baths in hotels because we don't have the feature here. Plus, if anybody sees me in the bath for 1 hour singing, things will get out of control very quickly. And in the hotel, I can leave the door open. Sometimes the TV is also inside the bathroom. Sometimes you can see it through a mirror. So you guys know. So that's when I miss being a bachelor and a rich bachelor. Maybe being rich and a bachelor go together. They correlate. You need to do both together, honestly. So make your money, boys, while you can and enjoy it. After that, you're going to have bucket baths for the rest of your life. Can you imagine? That's why, what's his name? Bill Gates broke up at the end of the day. He couldn't take the bucket baths anymore. No, we must save some money, Bill. Go back. Only 4 mugfuls. Damn you. Yeah. All right. So let's get to our topic number 1 for the day. We've got some bizarre, by the way, people listening, we've got some bizarre topics today.
And I have no idea what they are. So this is going to
So it's not these aren't your classic hit you in the face headline news. These are, you'll take some time to digest each one. Let's see. Sylvie?
All right. The first one, for instance, comes from Canada. This is a Canadian woman has become the first person in the world, to be diagnosed with climate change. Okay, so she's facing some breathing issues. She has asthma as a pre-existing condition. She is suffering from diabetes. She also has a heart condition. But the doctor she went to has diagnosed her with climate change, saying that the overarching problem is climate change that you are suffering from. And then there are smaller issues or whatever, like more like issues that arise from climate change. But that's the first person in the world to do this.
Okay, so it's going to that area where people get asthma because of the highly polluted areas they're in. Then they're asked to go to hillside areas where there's less pollutants, etc. So it's going from starting from that area. So Amit Doshi, let's see where you go with this one. Are you cynical or are you able to see the point?
What I will say is that this doctor is the reason why people hate liberals. That's all I have to say.
I told you. I told him offline.
I could think this was what Amit would.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. Right? This guy is the reason. He is the reason why people with the positions that most of us generally hold, the 3 of us at least generally hold, right, are hated by so many people. Because my God, what are you talking about? I mean, like, seriously, this is nothing but a political comment, right? Because climate change cannot be even used to say that certain things have happened. You can't even attribute weather events to climate change. You can't attribute changes in geography to climate change yet, because climate change, we know it's happening, but the effects are still kind of, being played out. And for him to do this, it's
No,
basically
so indirectly you can. Indirectly you can. You can say such and such has caused less oxygen in the atmosphere. Hence asthma is prevalent or whatever is
I know
prevalent, breathlessness. So you indirectly you can find a reason.
I think, Cyrus, is the preponderance of things, right, that are happening at this point in time on a climate perspective, which makes us believe that climate change is a real thing, right? And I believe climate change 100% is real. But when you cannot even attribute the fact that XYZ hurricane happened because of climate change, you cannot attribute this directly right now. How the fuck are you attributing an illness to this?
Also, why are there more cases? He's got one.
And an illness of illness of a
Nobody
person who's
else.
suffering from what? Diabetes, heart
Yeah.
disease.
Yeah.
Is there some cancer
All
in there?
regular ailments.
There's
Yeah.
no cancer.
All the stuff there.
But she lives in a trailer, so maybe that's also part of it, a disease. Sorry.
But
Absolutely
keep in mind, this
ridiculous.
is Canada, one of those A-grade countries. So sometimes the doctor is just not affected by the kind of patients maybe you'll see on a bad day in Raipur during the summer, where lots of people have diarrhea, for example. So he's not used to those kind of flesh and blood cases. So he now, out of sheer boredom, says, "What the hell? Let me make a breakthrough here and find something new, because I can't deal with colds, coughs, people feeling cold, maybe pneumonia." There's not too much more, perhaps, in his line. Yes, my good friend with the bucket bath.
It should be mentioned though that Canada right now is going through some of the worst heat waves it has ever seen, and which are being attributed to climate change. And because she went to the doctor during this heat wave time, I think that could be a part of everything is.
And
He's making-
I'm a
he's
victim of
making-
climate change. I had to buy thermals for my son. I'm a victim. The wife screamed at me, "He's going to freeze to death, blue, blue, blee, blee, blah, blah, blah." And as
Now
usual,
he's so hot there.
I need to meet that doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save a little money. They bleed
If
you
you meet
these things.
If you're meeting the doctor, smack him down a couple of times, because this is just stupid, right? I'm just like, climate change is real. Please don't put these kinds of, when there's this concept around like when it comes to laws and stuff like that, right? That basically you should not make laws which people are not going to follow. Right, making the speed limit too low, just like the dumbass laws that we break on a
When the
day-to-day
law is
basis.
an ass.
Essentially, yeah, you should not make laws like that. Why? Because it promotes disrespect to the law. This is the same thing over here. Climate change is real. It's a problem. It's an issue. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be tackled. It needs to be solved for. And to kind of use it in this way basically makes the whole, it's so ridiculous. It just turns everybody, it makes, it gives the people who are against the idea, or who basically deny the idea of climate change. I don't think you can be against, but you can deny the idea of climate change, right? It gives them such a stupid argument or such a stupid incident to dunk on, right? It's basically, yeah, next you say heart attacks happen because of climate change, chalo, theek hai, all right. It just turns into like that kind of thing, right? It's just so stupid.
But maybe there's more to meet than meets the eye, where basically he's not getting paid enough. He wants a private practice. He's sick of this people claiming insurance and nothing else. Can't make more money than required. So maybe he's just trying to break the ceiling, the glass ceiling for himself, and open the doors, the floodgates. Because if he can prove to those 12% or 2% of nutcases out there that they could have climate change-itis, then he's going to be for a little while. He's going to be really rich, and maybe rich enough for the rest of his life. All he needs is 50,000 people to say, "Yeah, wow, this is what I've got." They come and meet the same doctor. Ridiculous answers. You have to go to Nepal and sit under Kanchenjunga for 25 minutes every day, except Wednesday, and then you come back and you'll be okay. The climate change has not affected it as badly there as it is here. Blah blah blah. By the way, I wish they focus more on finding what do they call the Yeti in Canada? Sasquatch. I'm searching. This is one of my dreams. We were talking about bucket list the other day, I think on the last Cock and Bull maybe, or one before that. And I want to find the Yeti, or whatever the cultural name is across the world.
Yeah.
I do want to. If anybody has any idea where to start, or has some sort of clue and can tell us exactly a little bit more about where the Yeti was last seen and give us a little description. I think, Sylvie, what do you think? You, me, and a bucket. Off we go.
Won't be enough, I don't think.
You don't think we can lure him in the times of climate change to come out of that area before it becomes a warm zone, and then give him a nice bath where we all share one mug? You, me, and the Yeti. Uncle Yogesh.
I'm sure there are lots these people who are believe in these conspiracies. A lot of them take this stuff seriously. And again, I don't know that the Yeti is necessarily a conspiracy, right? Because the possibility of it existing, right? Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, right? It's there, right? I mean, it's unlikely at this point in time that such a large mammal could be undiscovered, but it's possible.
Also, it could be gray area, somewhere between a gorilla, a bear, and there's a species that's been slightly undiscovered, because we have in the recent past discovered species of animals here and there. So it's possible that something large.
Not this large, no?
Yeah, but I've been to the Himalayas. They're huge. Yeah. It takes a long time to go through the entire, 3 countries.
Have you guys, I was watching something about the giant squid, which lives in the deepest of the oceans, right? And the largest giant squid which has been found up till now is some 52 to 55 feet.
Yeah, 55 feet, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And but they're saying there are very possibly much larger giant squids that exist, but they just haven't been found because it's such a large ocean.
So hence, this can't be called a giant squid. This is called a medium squid, because we're expecting a bigger squid to follow. But coming back to this the theory things. What do you guys think about those anti-Holocaust theory guys?
It obviously happened, I think.
11 million Jews in Europe before 1932, and about 5 odd million left, who had obviously left because they ran away and got away from the murderous grip of the Nazis. So how do you deny the Holocaust? We have the concentration camps, we've got pictures, we've got memories of just now the generation is gone. Up to say 20 years back, there were people who could talk really clearly about it. Now, of course, it's more from the generation that's not been affected directly.
It's history denialism, right? It's the same thing that we see, it's all over the world.
In India, some of the battles
I did not want to say that.
Where we change the scorecard. We change the scorecard. We don't deny completely. We change the scorecard.
No, there's denial too. In plenty of places, there's denial. There is also complete fabrication, right? Planes in ancient times. This is fabrication, right? So it's changing history, right? do you guys, have you heard of that book? I'm trying to remember the name right now, but it's basically the history of the world written from the perspective of peasants and slaves and serfs and all of that.
The reverse story. Yeah,
the reverse story, right?
The conquered ones, basically. Yeah,
exactly, right. And so the fact is that when you even read some of those things, right, which are many of them are they're really, really kind of tenuous in terms of how factual or how traditional history will give you will give you this kind of information, or what information you are. It's very kind of secondarily derived information. But even when you look at the information which is derived from that primary information, you can still see this big difference in perspective. Means that basically the facts change when the perspective changes that much.
That's the word. I think it's very, we just have to get down to it. The fact of the matter is, if you don't have perspectives, different perspectives and all the possible perspectives, to find an average mean, to make it a little mathematical sounding, but I think it needs to be that. Otherwise, you cannot get a clear idea. The famous Rashomon and all these films and all, which tried the idea of showing different perspectives. When you really look at it, it can be absolutely black becomes white when you look from so and so's point of view. For example, when I was drunk, my perspective was all over the place. I have danced with a woman who turned out to be a man. And I'm again not homophobic, but these things happen because my perspective was rearranged, so to speak. And there were pictures taken by some of the boys, and till today they gather around a campfire and look at them and laugh. Especially if someone is terminally ill, it's something they do to cheer them up. Let's go back to Silvery, story number 2.
Yep. All right.
That was the climate change. And if anyone's listening has any proof that someone is suffering from climate change-itis, for lack of a better word right now, please fill us in with this information. Amit is ready to fight you. Silvery?
Yep. All right. Next one comes in from... so basically, there are a lot of studies coming about dating apps right nowadays, about people are able to understand what works and what doesn't work. Okay. And so one new study has come out which says that men who put the dog pics in their profiles are more likely to want more longer relationships. It's because showing dependence. So a man who wants a relationship, he will show a dependent child who is a dependent, or a dog, which is normally
incidentally the dog is there, or he's showing the dog specially.
No, it'll be maybe himself with the dog, but there is a dog in the profile. There's maybe a dog pic somewhere else, but prominently shown, because that for women apparently shows that this man is able to take care of someone else, able to...
Yeah, this is a very good point. I want to write it down for Kunal, because when we made his profile, we put a picture of him with a watermelon and nobody even wrote back. So maybe there's something in, it's important the second character is playing a stronger role than the first character when we can't sell the first character. But on a more serious level, I think the main thing is that when you see a pet and a male, you know the nurturing side is there, which is always a questionable side to the, well, I mean, obviously there's no proof that it's really there, but it appears to be there because the dog is there. So I give you a trick to those people who are youngish males. If you have dogs, you can borrow a dog. It's very easy to start a conversation with a female of the other gender, rather, because they sort of trust you when you have a dog. I've always noticed that. Ahmed, do you accept this? That when you're with your dog, people from the other gender don't think of you as a threat, as a creepy person. Your creepiness comes down a bit. It's the same thing, of course, even better if you have a kid, but the dog, it does help.
As you know, I learned everything I know in life from crime novels. And according to crime novels, this is true.
Listen, there is, if crime novel says climate change causes disease, then, that's it.
There must be a lot of dogs in crime novels because detectives and dogs and sniffing and all,
Yeah, no, they talk about this, right? They talk about how a lot of serial killers who are trying to abduct women basically have a dog, and that's how that's what they use to lure the women in.
And the reverse. I mean, I've just been on YouTube. I don't want to use the word love. It just sounds wrong. I'm interested in listening to serial murderers' confessions. And so while going to this whole confession of this one guy who had killed 11 women and 2 kids, actually, and then 20 years later, 11 women, Rochester, which is near the Canada border, New York. And they caught him when they basically, a sniffer dog found him from some clothing that was left at the scene of the crime, etc. And of course, they didn't talk much about that. And I was just thinking, what a great role the dog played. I mean, at the end of the day, something that would take years and so many people and manpower and money and publicity and fear in the area, blah, blah, blah. And in just 15 minutes, the dog picked up the scent and caught the guy. Went to the house. But then, of course, it took some time to, beat out a confession that all followed later. So, yeah, sorry, is that what you were saying?
Yeah. So another thing is that the second most popular dependent to show, at least for males, was a cat. Okay, obviously, but the thing is, cats were less successful in getting like a match because men who show cats are seen as less masculine or more feminine in nature than men who show dogs. That's what the study kind of was able to conclude. Another something was that this though everyone knows, but topless selfies don't work, or because men usually think that I'll show like my abs and I'll get like all the matches that I can, but that is the least true statement. They will get the least matches if they have a topless selfie, and same applies for fancy cars.
Okay.
If you have like
also remember
then you're likely.
But what you're saying is this initial thing, huh? This is the initial meeting thing where too much information absolutely. Is a killer. You can't show your abs. Generally, that's disgusting for a lot of. I can imagine even reverse of that would not work. Perhaps car sounds like a show off generally, unless you have really bad car and then you're having fun with it, and then you can see the humor in that. Like Archie Andrews' jalopy.
Take a Fiat and do a sports car pose with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that tongue-in-cheek thing would be okay, I suppose. But if you're doing an initial thing, it's I've never done it, but I'm just thinking it must be so much pressure. It's like the constitutions. You want to be rigid and flexible. You want to be right there in the middle. You want to show enough so that you're interesting and not be so self-deprecating that, that's all there is to it, because then you've said nothing. So you've got to find a sort of path where you are presenting something, but you cannot show off, be vain, be narcissistic, all that. So I think it'll be a very hard one to be. So in any case, there's not much you can do. You're on a bad path. And that's why most of the time people reject people. That's how it works. But I don't know, the dog and the cat thing. I mean, why would they make a judgment on that? They might just, if I'm a dog person, then immediately there's a little kindred spirit. So initially that could help set up a relationship for a little while. I can see that, but I can't see reading so much in the subconscious and the subtext. Like, nurturer, lovely, kind, beautiful, manly, Adonis, has his dog with him, alpha male. I don't know. This is too much for me. Amit, what do you think?
I think I'd agree with you, right? I mean, no, I don't agree with you, actually. I would disagree with you.
Are you drinking?
No, I'm not.
Well, I'm drinking coffee. To be or not to be? Oh, okay.
I disagree with you.
Coffee. Yeah.
Yes, no, I think that there is definitely a
connect. From a crime novel thing.
Well, no, it's not just a crime novel thing, right? The crime novel is infallible and it's always correct, but it's not the crime novel thing, right? It makes sense if you think about it, just from a there's this evolutionary theory, right, about what men look for and what women look for, and how this stuff kind of plays out, right? And so it kind of makes sense if you look at that.
Okay, but then think of the breed of dog also. Maybe take the GSD over the Pom. And I love Poms. I'm not one of those guys say, okay. Should we take a break, guys? It's 6:34.
Yes, let's take a break.
Half a topic done
Let's
as
take
usual.
a break. Yes.
Is there any announcement that needs to be made?
No,
I
all
don't-
done. We're
Oh,
good
great.
today.
Excellent. Wow. Let's do an ad for our show. Please subscribe to
Yes.
this channel. Please like and subscribe. And the point is, we don't even want you to actually like. Just do this like we're your NGO or someone you want to help. And just lead a helping hand. You don't have to actually do anything, not even watch it, but just subscribe. Silvery, will that work?
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
trying
I
to
think it'll work.
get into my own
Yeah.
mind because I hate people telling me what to do. Because that rebellious streak comes in and then, so I'm. But if you ask for help, that's different.
No, but they should they should subscribe, and I think most importantly, right, they should
Oh,
tell
God.
somebody. They should tell somebody
You
about the
guys-
podcast.
Pass on the information. Yeah, and don't do it in
Yeah.
that secretive manner. This is not China. You can actually tell them. For now, it's not China. But I think you guys have hit the nail on the head with the dog thing, because I met my wife to be for the first time at Nas Cafe. I was supposed to be meeting her there with the dog, and then she didn't turn up. And the next time I met her was outside the CCI club because I had to find a location when she was nearby. Again with my dog in the car. So I think she fell in love with me because I had the dog. So what you're saying is correct. Because there's no way she would fall in love without the dog. Do the maths. There's no way. It's not. Silver, you've opened a very interesting thing here. I'm going to check with all my pals now. When you met Rajeshri, was there a dog nearby? I mean, you don't even own a dog. Nikhil, did you have a dog walking by when she saw you for the first time?
So yeah,
Gotta be something.
exactly. No dog
Yeah.
is true love. If there was no dog, there is true love. Yeah. basically.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. An app for extramarital relationships sounds interesting? Well, it exists, and it's booming. On GBCD, Farad and Sunetru talked to Sybil Shadel from Gleeden, a dating service primarily marketed to women. On Simplified, the gang discussed the phenomena of sports washing illustrated by the recent Saudi takeover of the Newcastle United Football Club. On the Life Manifesto, Serena explains various lessons from Charlie Plum's life and how we can apply them to our own lives. On Say No to Drama, Chetna is here to slice the drama around workaholics and help understand the consequences of our choices. And learn how to simplify your personal finances on Paisa Vaisa as Anupam speaks to co-founders of Five Money, Sujit Narayan and Sumit Golani. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Slate Coffee, Intel, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Okay, there were a couple more funny ones that you had mentioned that we would get into. I can't remember.
There was no other
Topics?
funny ones.
Was-
There's one kind of somber one, but the outcome is very bizarre. Okay, the reasoning
Oh.
behind why it happened is very bizarre. Okay, straight off the bat, this is about someone committing suicide. Okay, but the reason behind it is very bizarre. This
I
man,
told him it's going to be a little irreverent show and there'll be no heaviness
Yeah.
today. Okay.
I mean, no, it's still slightly. It could. Okay, we'll just go ahead with the story.
We will find in the
a Tamil Nadu
blackness of
man.
your sentence humor. On somebody's life, we will stand up and find humor. Okay, go on.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
This is
I
all
didn't
because
do
of
it.
Pankini and the
This guy
Bats.
did it.
People listening, this boy is traumatized. Please
So-
keep dog in picture, including DP.
Yeah. So a Tamil Nadu man ended up committing suicide, ended his life to fulfill his vow to God after getting a job. So basically, he committed suicide as a tribute to God, as a sacrifice, because he got a job. So that was the reason as to why he committed
Sylvie,
suicide. Because he
there's
had
no need
said,
to go further with this.
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
a minute to myself because this is
"This is
I
kind
really
of
know
dark."
what this
Yes,
is. Yeah.
this is
it's
genius.
kind of dark,
This is-
but
it
but
is,
this
but
is-
it's genius.
it's such a bizarre story. Like immediately after getting a job, this guy's like, okay, I had promised God I would sacrifice myself. I got a job. He started to laugh.
Opiate of the masses.
Oh man, I don't know what to
Opiate
say.
of the masses.
But okay.
This is a very strong shot in the arm for religion and pushing the Anulop towards the more religious zealots out there. I mean, this is it. The guy, he's done everything right in his life. He gets to the top of the tree, and then boom. Oh my
Clearly,
God.
clearly a student of logic.
Yeah. But it's amazing how the most intelligent of people across the world sometimes do these really stupid things in the name of religion. I mean, this is beyond stupid, but there's obviously like some sort of mental issue, if you ask me. Like, how do you explain it? But people do really silly things anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you've
that's
got your IIT degree and this and that. You're running an MNC or huge and whatever, but yet if a black cat crosses by or whatever, you're worried, and there's all irrational thought also in us. I mean, I do it myself. I'm not like I don't do it. So let's face it. There's a. What do you think, Amit? There's no one who's so rational, absolutely rational.
No, so
And religion is the top of the irrational because we discussed this. Some of the religions,
Yeah.
God doesn't make sense beyond a point.
So rationality is a matter of perspective, right? In the sense that what is rational to person A is not necessarily rational to person B, right? I think the way that so I've been listening to a lot of podcasts around mental models and stuff like that, right? And when they're talking about mental models, they talk about both the positive ones and the negative ones. Sorry,
Okay.
so you want to say something?
No, that's right. That's perspective.
Yeah.
To our first argument. I'm okay
Correct,
with
right.
that.
So there are mental models which basically are mental models which are inhibiting your ability to think in ways which are presumed rational, right? There are also mental models which help you think about ways to look at rationality. And the same mental model can basically do both, can lead you down like the wrong path and can lead you the right path, right? So when I was listening to this, the example they gave was Occam's razor, right? Which is something I think we're all familiar with. The idea that the simplest, the simplest possibility is most likely the correct possibility.
I'm trying to Google it.
Okay.
Go on.
No, so basically, the idea is that, like, I shouted at Antriksh today for whatever reason, right? Now, this did not happen. I'm just making something up. I'm trying to figure out like a way to kind of demonstrate this.
Damn, we have had two good stories.
Let's say for whatever reason I shouted at Antriksh today, right? The for somebody who is looking at this, the assumption might be that I was sitting in my room, somebody stepped on my toe, I was really irritated. Because of that, I went out. When I went out, I saw Antriksh first and I started shouting. That's one way of looking at it. So now your reasoning goes through this long chain, right? The other way of looking at it is Antriksh did something wrong and I shouted, right? Which is a simpler kind of this, right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to come down to the simplest explanation for a cause and effect, and that is probably true. But the truth is that sometimes that's completely wrong.
There's a percentage. It's probably true in the sense that 80% of the reason is that impulse that happened then. But you can't. That's the whole thing of psychiatry. At the end of the day, you cannot disassociate from the past. If you could, it's there when you're subconscious or not in your conscious, but it's there somewhere, right? Hence, because the guy stepped on your foot, even though that's out of your mind and your conscious, when there's irritation that's happened, that irritation stays there in the pocket, and then it adds up to the 80%. Irritation that you got from him, but the 20% catalyst came from there, and boom. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. But I want to just go back to my simple question always, which is if God created everything, right? God created everything, the mountains, the streams, we don't have anything. Who created God? How did God get created? You see, the genesis of this is all. No. This is very important. The origin of the species, so to speak. Nobody ever gets into that. So how does that happen? He creates himself or herself, or take your time.
This is a fundamental, it's one of the fundamental tenets of why atheism is a thing, right? Because if when you ask the question, the only answer is man created God. If man created God, God is a construct. God is not a being. If God is to be a being, then that means that
you're singing my song.
No, so that I've said I've maintained this for many years.
When my erudite young son, not even potty trained, asked me who's God's mother, and from there we took off, about the God's mother thing and the origin of what the origin is. As in, what is the base? Where do we have? Give me the base. How does base happen? That actual thought, and you can go metaphysical as you want, is just not possible. It just doesn't seem to have a fundamental logic to it. How does that base happen?
I have one explanation. So when God created everything, he also created time. Okay. So now once you create time, you can go back in time and create yourself, because you can create. You have the power to create. So he created himself.
But how did the God who created himself in the first point, dude? You want to get into time? You want to get into time travel paradoxes with me, dude?
My God!
Okay.
You poke the bear. You can insult India as much as you want. You can abuse religion, but how dare you talk about time travel like you know it? God transcends time and space, so has always existed. Royston has given us, but he's given us with a tongue in cheek.
Answer, yes.
Yeah. Should we go to AMAs? Maybe
yes, absolutely.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right. The first one comes in from Somit Iyer. He says, will Cyrus continue to watch the remainder of the T20 World Cup? And if he is, then Pac versus Australia, who is supporting?
Well, I did. I had to do the commentary for the first time in my life, actually, proper commentary for a thing called Glance. Yeah. It was great fun.
Who did you do?
And in Hindi,
who did you do commentary for?
So it's a website called Glance.
Okay.
Glance, like Glance. And so basically, what they do is you watch, because they don't have the rights. But this seems to be a thing a lot of people are trying. So you don't.
It does done, yeah.
And then you do the commentary with. So we had two sets. Tom Walter's son Jamie I shouldn't call him that. He's a sports writer in his own. Haven't we had him on the podcast? We should have him on the podcast. We have.
I don't think we have. Yeah.
Very interesting guy. Speaks chase Urdu like his dad and looks like anybody from the streets of, New York somewhere. Not to give it any sort of race. That's a lovely guy. So he was there and he loves his cricket. And there was a guy called Chetan Narula, who's quite well known actually, journalist type, and a couple of other guys. And so whatever. So we do a roster properly. And the thing is, I've seen Mikhail watching some football stuff like this where it's like you're in the bar. Now. So ordinary people having ordinary conversation and Kelly commentary, you don't have to go ball by ball, right arm over the wicket or it's not that really, no? You're just watching the game and discussing it. You're having fun. So the more time we spend, the more fun we had, and we really had a good time.
Interesting. So they do the same thing in the NBA on one of the. So there's a
Did they get any numbers?
So they get decent numbers. So what happens on the NBA app, right? Is once a week there is a game which is commentated by Nate Duncan and Duncan Leroux. These are two podcasters, NBA podcasters, but they are very technical podcasters, right? So they talk about like, oh, this pick and roll happened because of that. This person was able to slide this way. So they do it like in a very kind of very nitty-gritty technical kind of way, which is not what you get on your normal broadcast, which is meant for everybody.
Basketball not to follow, right? So this is the opposite.
Exactly. So I enjoy that. I learned from it, right?
I think it's like for anyone to sort of follow because it's like it's not Harsha Bhogle and Nasir Hussain and Sunil Gavaskar and that kind of thing. It's just three guys. Although one of them is a sports commentator for now and one of them is a sports journalist or whatever, but it's just slightly, we're just regular people having a conversation, generally speaking. No one's trying to act, and you're punting half the time. This will happen, this won't happen. I presume this will happen. I think, because we're Indians and we love combinations and permutations in our genes. So it was fun. It was good fun. The only worry, of course, was my Wi-Fi because I had to do it from upstairs because the sound was really bad.
Sorry, I'm just saying this is Samsung Glance Live. So this is Glance isn't like the software Glance, not like the website Glance. Okay, all right, cool. All right.
Oh, it's called something else. I should pay attention.
Yeah, no, I know. I know that we're actually engaged.
But we're on Sunday. Please, you can watch us on Sunday at 7 when the finals take off. But to answer the question, listen, I'm a cricket nut. I'm not a jingoistic.
You need a Samsung phone or a Xiaomi phone to watch it, right?
Can I fill you in details once I talk to Costos? Because I just basically do the talking. I really didn't pay attention to much of that. But I'm sure there's some sort of there's a Bitcoin side effect to it as well. But just to say quickly, and Amit, I think you're the same because you love the game, and although you have your favorites in the NBA, you'll watch others play. So I think real cricket lovers, real football lovers, we don't just watch us. There are two types of sports nuts. Ones who only follow their team. But we don't just follow our team. We do follow our team more than anything else, but we follow other teams as well. So I don't have a problem. India's lost. I still watch the cricket. It was a cracker of a match yesterday. It'll be a cracker of a match in a bit now. Australia, Pakistan, I feel. So, bro, I'm watching. And Australia is our team. We support Australia. We have Australian accents from time to time. And we're sitting in the bucket and having a bath. Me and old Mickey. And not anymore because he's our team. Would look
I picked a second favorite new NBA team. Just like last couple of weeks.
Oh, that's a sign of insecurity. That's the guy who loses confidence in his first team. We also have that.
I like my first team, and I'm going to root for my first team no matter what. But my first team is an Eastern side team, and I always root for somebody on the Western side. It's been the Golden State Warriors for the longest time, but I recently flipped to the Memphis Grizzlies, where they have become my.
So that means that whatever the hell they are play the Golden State Warriors, you then go with Memphis.
I'll go with Memphis. My Western Conference team is not important to me. It's just something that. So what happens is Eastern Conference games start at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning. Western Conference games start at 7:30 in the morning. So I'm more able to watch those on a regular basis, right?
This is the Gujarati at work. There's a logic to it. It makes sense. It's not just emotional.
But what made you change? But what made you change this?
Ja Morant, what a player! What a player, man! I mean, I think
he told us about him a couple of months back.
Yeah, just what a player, man. I mean,
so one man influences your change to a team, huh? That's a lot.
Well, I was watching Golden State because of Steph Curry, so now I'm watching Memphis because of.
And the other Curry, Seth Curry.
Seth Curry is part of the Philadelphia 76ers, my first team.
They play for separate teams, two brothers torn apart.
Yes, they are.
By war.
Yes, they are.
How sad. Yes. Yeah. But this thing of having a second team, especially when for us Indians who don't have any dog in the fight when it comes to football World Cups, FIFA World Cups, we all have who's your best team, who's your second team. We all had that. For some reason. Yeah. But in cricket, I've always supported West Indies growing up. I still support them, but they just don't win anything anymore, very rarely. And my son loved Australia, and my dad, I don't know if there's genetic blueprint, loved Bradman's Invincibles 48 team and all that. I had all those posters. So the Indian cricket nut is much more than an India nut. He knows his India, of course, inside, outside. But you talk to any old timers, They love all the cricketers.
When I watch cricket regularly, I used to love Sri Lanka because I used to watch cricket regularly way back when, right? And Sri Lanka became like good all of a sudden, right? Arjuna Ranatunga,
Fabulous. Out of nowhere, 95, they went to Australia, played really well in a one-day game. This guy turned up, Jayasuriya and Kalwit Rana, reinvented the game. And a small island with no money, nothing, and punching against these big heavyweights like 1.3 billion India, 300 odd million Pakistan, 70 odd million England with all their culture and history, Australia, blah, 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 West Indies. And then this small island with all the internecine warfare and this and that. So again, a good romance to that story. I love Sri Lanka. I love Sri Lanka as a country. I could go there. If they give me citizenship, I would really consider it. Only I wouldn't want the long names. Because I'm wondering if I call someone with a full long name, it takes so long sometimes. What if it's an emergency? Hello, Dr. Rumesh Ratnayak K. And the guy's dead. Because if you were Dr. Singh, I could have saved him. But because of the 2 more syllables, I lost my guy. No. Please, I really do.
So I used to I rooted for them for everybody except India until they got really good.
And who beat us in 96?
Right? And they got really good really fast. 96 they won.
Who beat us in 96?
That's what they won in 96. So at that point in time, I was like, no longer.
Oh, damn
no longer. Go away.
Kamli and all cried and all that. Yeah. Well before. Silver, you were having baths in those days. Because that was
yes.
bath. This is 96.
No, 96 no. I think I was like
too young.
Yeah. Amit, were you ever into other American sports like baseball or American football? Did you ever get
So I was into American football quite deeply. But then what?
Can't understand it.
I'll
they fight for 1 yard, Amit.
Yeah.
One guy was trying to explain to me when I was in New York. I was like, for 1 yard, 2 yards, this whole thing is for 1 yard.
But
it's how we Indians fight over property. Zameen mera hai and all that.
It's a really fun sport to watch. Honestly, it's a more fun sport to watch than the NBA is. But I'll tell you what the problem is. Nobody in India follows it. So I have nobody to talk with it about at all. It just gets boring, right? And especially if your team is not doing particularly well, and I have a specific team football.
Who?
Then the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm from Philadelphia, right? So all the Philadelphia teams.
You're a Philly boy. Hey, well, how do you rate that sandwich after all that?
The cheesesteak?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the most popular ones suck, but there are some really good Philly cheesesteaks. Like there's Pat's and Geno's, which are considered to be the
Philly cheesesteak is better than anywhere else where you get the Philly cheesesteak. You even get it here in Indigo.
Well, so it depends, right? I mean, like in Indigo, you don't get a real Philly cheesesteak.
That's my problem.
Yeah. So and the thing is this, right? Most places which they don't. So a cheesesteak is thin. Like the steak is super thin.
Oh, I thought it was the reverse. There were 2 or 3 layers of meat.
No. It's really, really thin.
And garnished with lots of pickles and lettuce and all that.
So there are lots of pickles and so that's what it's not real, right? So in Philadelphia, when you get a Philly cheesesteak, this is what it has. It has bread, it has cheese, it has the steak, which is really thin, and then put over a a grill, right? And then on top of that, you have more cheese, or you can have cheese whiz, right? Basically that cheese sauce type thing, and that's all it is.
So then every other Philly cheesesteak does its own thing. It's got nothing to do with the Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not.
Wherever we go in the world and they say Philly cheesesteak, they say.
I forgot fried onions. Fried onions are key part.
Very important for our new budding chef. Fried onions and pickles really make continental food.
Man, they're great.
Yeah, they just give the continental food what they can't get because they don't have a masala and spice and all that, but they get a bit of that. I'm feeling hungry now already. 6:52. I don't think I have Philadelphia.
Okay. One small other thing, Amit. Are there other countries outside America where American football is popular though? Like you said, India, nobody watches it.
There's a Canadian football league,
Canada,
but it's not very popular. Right? Not compared to hockey, not compared to basketball. Not
Japan loves baseball, so baseball has been moved to Japan and Cuba. Yeah. Cuba loves baseball. I think in South America, the West Indies also, there's a little bit of baseball is there.
There's a lot of baseball all over South America and West Indies. But NFL, no, there's nowhere else. Ice hockey is also only America and Canada. There is European ice hockey, but
to be honest, that's also because a lot of the countries are in tropical areas. Okay, we can't play ice hockey for God's sake. You come to Mahim with me tomorrow. We'll bring our sticks, carry ice. So let's do our best. That's not fair.
Agreed. I mean, like it's a issue.
But their jingoism for their club. What is the right word? Not club. What do you want to call these teams?
Fanaticism for their teams.
For their franchise. For their franchise. It's fanaticism. And it's again like Democrat Republic. They actually go down generations. I follow Philadelphia Sixers or whatever because of my father and grandfather. I've had these conversations in bars with people. I'm amazed at their, and they get really excited. You talk about dog people loving each other, people who smoke getting to, having some kindred spirit. This is huge.
Yeah.
One silly team, and then very often they're not from that state also, and they all like that team, and then boom, they bond. Very embarrassing.
It's tribalism, right? We've spoken about this last year. Yesterday we were talking about this. It's tribalism, right?
But it's sporty tribalism, so it's hopefully harmless.
It's tribalism on such a narrow topic, right? That is harmless tribalism, right? When tribalism starts encompassing all issues, then it becomes problematic, right? But where it's only like, hey, this guy is a great player versus somebody saying, no, this guy sucks and you should trade him. When it's that tribalism, it's not important.
Who created God? Or how did God create himself? Explain that process to me. Before the mountains and the streams and the oceans and the sunshine and the little children playing in the rain, all that. Next question.
Did a time
All right.
travel thing just happen right now?
No. I just want to come back to that question. That question is the basis of a lot of. So either you follow the logical path or you don't deep down. You cannot deny yourself in your subconscious. Also, there's some sense of logic or sense of like, I don't understand anything, so I'll accept it. That type of thinking, which is very strong, and a lot of people, they almost have laziness to do that. I don't understand, so maybe this is what I feel, but maybe.
But I think that's true for many people, right? There are people who study religion deeply, right? But at the same time, a lot of people just do whatever the hell they want.
But they won't give you proper answers. Either they get angry and shoot you, or I wish this was Akbar allowed in Dini Ilahi and trying to create that whole darbar where they would actually have, and he used to have these debates, and he would laugh his head off if one religious zealot would denounce the other and win that debate on the strains of some sort of logic. I won't name different, but he really had a good time. What a naughty boy he was. Okay, next one.
Right. Next one comes in from Pradeep Pillai. Is a great one. He says, as last two CNB episodes started with toilet talks, how do you utilize the time in loo apart from answering nature's call? Is it A, newspaper, B, mobile, C, laptop, or D, something?
We discussed this in the pandemic. Loo became very important because you can't get away from people otherwise. There was no outlet. So a lot of people were spending more time in the loo just to get their personal space. Not the loo was the only option. But we share loos now because mine is a joint family, and my wife went and broke one loo down to make one big loo. So what happens is, half the time I'm in, Dad, you're in now. Get out. This is the conversation, and then my pee freezes or whatever else freezes, and I have to put my clothes back on and go out and wait as a loser. It's painful. I think a dormitory experience would have been good for me. It would have prepared me for this. The bully takes the bucket. You're about to start, and the bully comes out. My turn. Did that happen? The bullies would come and take.
We did get bullied. Yes, we did get bullied all the time.
No, I feel the seniors would take the bucket, take the mug, that kind of thing, and the junior would just have to. That's it. That's the law of the jungle.
Like that did happen in the first 2 months, but then after that, you just become friends with the seniors also because you're the same dormitory, and then that stops happening.
So, can I ask you a question? Does bullying in boarding schools happen across classes, like as in 9th standard, 10th standard, or does it happen like within the 9th standard? Like, so it's seniors, juniors, or is
they're different? Yeah, seniors to juniors also. There's also house to house. So I was like Shivaji House, which is the equivalent of Yellow House. And the people from Tilak House, because they were like, I don't know, bigger than us or like stronger than us in whatever way, they used to bully our house. And my entire dorm used to get bullied, when it was very funny, but very sad. But yeah, it's what it is.
But there was an age thing. That house just was more dominant.
No, there was an age thing also. Like, so the 11th and 12th students rule the school. At least it was in my time. I'm sure like they have tried to crack down on bullying nowadays.
The world, generally the seniors are the ones doing the ragging. That's what I'm trying to understand. You're thinking that the one house picks on the other house is a little different dynamic.
So that also. So basically there were like different types of bullying. There was like the 11th and 12th rule the school. They ask you to do, basically they tell you to do something, you have to do it. There's no way you're not doing it. And and then there was like some cross house bullying also. It's just, a lot of levels.
I've discussed this before on some podcasts. I just had to in Xavier's, they made me swim on the floor because they asked me what sports do you do, and I said I'm a swimmer.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, no, and I thought it was pretty cool. What's the big deal? I went on the floor, and then suddenly realized how stupid it is. You're lying on the floor trying to do breaststroke with your knees up and your hands up, and they're all looking at you, and they're saying, "Go faster." You know how guys are quite funny. It was more funny than mean. Faster, shabash, come on, faster, last length. They do shit like that. So, yeah. But I think if you can't handle it, then it can go down because people are just different. And then it can become very physical and aggressive. And some people are just very sensitive. Personally speaking, it didn't bother me at all. In fact, I've been good friends with the seniors after that.
Yeah, it's a weird one, right?
It's rite of passage. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying it becomes like a rite of passage 90% of the time. That's all it is. But then there are definitely the horror stories that I've read and seen. I mean,
there are people who go take this shit too far.
you can't kick a guy in the mouth and ass and put his head in the bucket of water and make him on the toilet and all. I mean, there's a limit, right? I mean, swimming is just creatively stupid, nothing more. And were you beaten? Did they physically assault you?
I did get into fights, and getting
into a fight is different from you getting bullied physically by them. Like they how to hit you.
I got beat up by my teachers, by the way. It's so common in boarding schools to get beat up by teachers. It is super.
I think that's a good thing.
Okay, sure. No, it's not.
Do you remember why?
But this is funny. Though. So I was unwell one day. Okay, one day, entire day I was unwell. So I hadn't gone for the games period. So there's 4 to 5 p.m. in the evening. We have to compulsorily go out and play in boarding school because they don't want you getting fat in boarding school. Because then you'll eat more and they'll have to give you more anda curry and nobody wants that.
They just tried to make you more manly and you didn't like sport. Now you explained all that to us before.
No, but
even for your stand up, all that. But just tell us what happened running out of time.
So I didn't go for games period this one day because I was unwell, okay? And this teacher came and started basically hitting me and scolding me, okay, why aren't you playing? So catching my collar and all, okay, roughly. And then I fainted. And this guy freaked out. He thought he just killed a student who was unwell.
Your blood sugar level was low, so you fainted.
I was actually unwell. Yeah, I was actually unwell. And then I fainted.
But he caught you and he slapped you also, just caught you?
He actually just roughed me up, he shook my collar and all the front and back.
That was allowed, wasn't it? I
mean, it was all allowed. We got smacked in the bum with branches and all also by our teachers. That's also a thing.
What about the one gay kid who says, "Can I have that again, please?" Is that okay? Yeah. I'm sorry. Again, we're not bigots. We just like a good joke. Okay. Save me, Amit. Where's the disclaimer here? We've spoken too soon. We're not in the bar. This is what the cricket show that we do is a bit like this. Once you loosen up, you say all kinds of terrible things. But it's like when you and your mates are hanging out in a bar or a restaurant or in a house.
You say shit, yeah.
Watching a game. Yeah. It's also a lot of fun for people around, because that's half the fun is there and half the fun is in the audience. I would think. Yeah. Okay, let's do one or two quickly.
Let's do one.
Yeah. All right. Next one comes from Feral Mind. He says, did you guys read about the first no caste, no religion certificate that was issued recently to a woman lawyer from Tamil Nadu?
Wow.
Did you guys hear about this?
And it had to be Tamil Nadu. Really? Excellent. I want one. How do I get this?
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. But let's get on the show. Woman lawyer.
Yeah, we should. Let's find out.
Let's get on the show.
Yeah, we should try and get on the show.
Can I call you Fair? Fair, can you please get this lady? Give us some.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get her.
So her name is Sneha, the first Indian to receive no caste, no religion certificate. She's an advocate from Tamil Nadu who officially doesn't belong to any caste or religion.
She obviously filed a PIL or something. So
she officially does not belong to any caste or religion. So, and she was able to get the certificate, which the certificate has never been issued before this.
I want one ASAP. I think this is something.
Is there such a thing as a caste certificate?
I don't.
It took her 9 years to get one, says Feral Mind. It's not an easy thing.
There you go.
There must be. Just because we don't have it doesn't mean there isn't.
I had a friend in college. So you know how when you're filling Hindu, Muslim on your
many forms have it. No, that's a communal. Caste is actual caste is mentioned.
No. I'm talking about when you're filling a school forms, right? They would ask you
community is mentioned. We put not applicable.
No, we had religion at least. I remember having religion and filling.
We also have it, and we have put NA all the time.
My friend, his entire school life had always written humanitarian in that compartment.
But that's horrible because that means everybody else is not.
That's exactly what it means. No, because his dad was I think Hindu and his mom was Muslim. So he was just
but be that as it may, why should he choose to identify himself as a religious person?
Absolutely.
With a religious identity. I think that's something personal. If you want to do it, it should never be something that's brandished. And answer my question about who created God, and then we can discuss this further. Otherwise, I don't want to talk about this.
There's somebody's put a Twitter inside the chat.
Twitter inside the chat?
Her Twitter handle inside the chat.
Oh, Roasty. How
sweet. Yeah, so just keep it and
okay, great. Cool. Yeah, got it. Cool.
Well, let's get her. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. How she got it and everything else. And maybe then we can follow her path. Now, this lady should be the next member of parliament. You can see a leader here, the real leader for India, for change, for everything else. Why do these people lead the country? The present leaders are very good. I'm not criticizing them. Done great stuff. Yeah, go on.
Arjun R has a great question or great comment. He says, "Hey Cyrus, me and my girlfriend play a drinking game while watching your podcast. We take a shot every time you say percentile, egalitarian, Machiavellian. She died of liver cirrhosis last week.
Oh, what can I say? The percentile of that happening, if I could get into it for a little while, is quite high at any given time. My God, it's very scary if they actually dissect our show and remember every little thing like that.
Yeah.
Liver cirrhosis is not that easy to die from, but it takes a long time. It's a very painful death. I suppose you look at it as a lucky break and move on to the next. Stay with our podcast, go to the next. Arjun, oh God. This is like the serial killers that I've been, on YouTube that I'm going through. I mean, their stories are, some of them, they're scary. Because the fantasy level is just not ordinary from any angle.
Yeah. People just say whatever they think, yeah.
Okay, guys, should we pack up before more people's girlfriends die? I don't want all this happening on my watch, for God's sake. No, as an egalitarian, I want to keep everybody equal here for the rest of our lives. But the last thing to be said, if anybody out there knows how God was formed before God, the pre-God era. I want the pre-God era. Give me that. Amit, is that fair?
Sure.
Put out there.
The pre-God era, by pre-God era, you mean like basically older than 10,000 BC?
A little older than that. But Google, I tried, but the answers were, very not.
Well, I mean, listen, if we believe that God is a manifestation of man, and man's civilization as we know it started around 10,000 BC.
No, God created prehistoric animals and flora and fauna and all. So it goes back millions of years. So let's go all the way back there.
It depends on the religion.
So there was nothing. Let's say shunyata, nothingness, whatever the word is. So there's nothingness in the bleak blackness of nothing.
So that's Hinduism, right?
Everything, there's nothing. Then God turns up.
No, dude. In Catholicism, it's 6,000 years ago, dude. And then God created life.
Okay, I'll just check the Bible. I'll check the exact date. But now I don't want to start a religious war, for God's sake. Amit Doshi, I'm taking me as generic as possible and not pick on any one. Because all of them owe me answers. And the answer is, how and when was God formed? And before that, whether you want to go millions of years or give me a date, I don't care. Give me what happened pre. So before 2014 says be sick prick. We really are getting the audience we deserve. It's very clear. Okay, bye guys. See you tomorrow.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood.
Get accustomed to womanhood.
Enjoy the experience of sisterhood.
Might get to wifehood.
Or not. Choose motherhood.
Or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
Earn a livelihood.
Change the neighborhood.
And get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Ritasha.
And me, Ayushi.
On a journey from station starting point.
To station, what now?
Next station, Pudin station. And hopefully, Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy? If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.